Over the past couple of weeks, I managed to pull off something that I think is very, very difficult to do in today's internet age, and that is I had nothing about this week's impact spoiled for me. I stayed away from any articles pertaining to it on dirt sheets. I stayed away from anything that would leak any of the results to me because I wanted to go into this week's show, fresh, as if it was live, as if it was happening right here, right now. And I wanted to see if it was going to be business as usual and the same old shit, just a different day for TNA, or TNA was going to learn from some of their mistakes of the past and they were going to start to maybe carve a new path in a new way for TNA heading into 2014. There are three primary segments that I'm going to talk about with this week's show, and I have to say, there was a period of time just a couple of months ago where I was very down on the TNA product and really legitimately, this is 100% shoot, was this close to completely not watching it anymore. It was this close. Bound for Glory did just enough to save it, just enough. The past couple of weeks of Impact have started to rev up my excitement for this company again heading into 2014. They've done a really good job. And I thought, while this week's show wasn't perfect, I don't know if TNA is ever going to necessarily have a perfect show, this was more than good enough. If TNA can give me this type of stuff on a consistent week in and week out basis, not only is my passion for their product going to increase, the passions of others for this product is going to increase, and maybe interest in this product will actually increase for the first time in several years. The bottom line is this company seems to be learning from at least some, and I emphasize again, some of their mistakes of the past. The way the show was presented was very good. And isn't it amazing, TNA? Isn't it amazing when you get away from the overbearing, weak-ass dominant heel factions that ruin everything and dominate everything in your company for a year and a half, how much everything else is allowed to grow and flourish and thrive? Isn't it amazing? No more immortals, no more fucking main event mafias, no more dumb dick aces and eights. You do this type of stuff for a while, and it's amazing how much more people are going to get back into your product again. Because you give me more shows like this week and the past couple of weeks, man, it's going to get back to the point where it was at one point in time for a several month stretch in 2012 where I was easily enjoying TNA's on-screen and in-ring product far, far more than anything that the WWE was putting out. That's for damn sure. So let me talk about the three things to me that really stood out the most here with Final Resolution, and the three things that really do have me feeling like maybe TNA is going in a different way in 2014. Definitely have to admit that initially I was not all that eagerly anticipating a Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle feud. Kind of one of those things, and maybe it's my changing as a fan over the years, but it's one of those things where you've seen it before. It's kind of a been there, done that type of scenario and situation. So maybe that's kind of what it is for me. I don't know. But I do feel like there have been several elements of this feud between Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle that have been very well done, ultimately culminating in this 2 out of 3 falls match here at Final Resolution. The type of match that should finish off a feud like this. The type of match that serves to me as an appropriate blow-off match. And that's what this was. What I've liked about the way Bobby Roode has been presented in this feud is that, yes, he does some of those kind of cowardly chicken shit heel tactics, but he's also coming across as an aggressive, uber confident, not afraid of no shit, babyface type of heel, if you know what I mean. He really has come across as that guy that he knows he's good, and he knows he's Bobby Roode, and he knows he could beat Kurt Angle, and he's not afraid of Kurt Angle. He's not going to back down from Kurt Angle, and in fact, he's going to take the fucking fight to him. And the way this match was done, the way this match was presented, this was no 5-star classic. No, it wasn't. But was it a very good television match? A free pay-per-view, whatever you want to call this. Was it a very good television match that told the appropriate story? Yes, it was. Did it have the appropriate finish? Yes, it did. The TNA of the past, damn good and well, would have had Kurt Angle not only win this match, but even maybe win it two pinfalls to nothing. But instead, Bobby Roode gets the victory here. And you go all 3 matches. See, this is what I'm talking about. These are the good things that TNA can do. start to de-emphasize some of these old over-the-hill guys, the WWE stars, and focus on your guys. Focus on the guys that don't have that WWE stank to them. Focus on the guys like the Bobby Roode. These are the guys that should be putting over. A couple of years ago, goddamn good. Well, Kurt Angle would go over Bobby Roode. See Bound for Glory 2011 if you doubt me. Up your ass. Period. History's on my side. I know I'm right on this, but I also know something's afoot. And something is changing within the inner workings of TNA. And they're finally realizing after all these years and all this insistence on pushing these guys that are from the WWE, the guys that are 40 and over, it doesn't mean that they can't have a place. It doesn't mean that they can't have a spot. But they can't be your be-all, end-all, and everything as you're trying to panic every week generating some type of 1.0 rating. You're never going to get anywhere doing that. You're just not. And all the while, all you're doing is burying your own guys that you should be elevating into the top guys in your company, using those WWE guys as the measuring stick guys to ultimately help out, put over, and get over these guys that you've created. And that's what this feud did to me with Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle. It was done the right way. It was presented very well. And it made Bobby Roode, in my opinion, look like $1,000,000. And now he's gone over Kurt Angle multiple times. He feels like, to me, the better man. That's how you do it, TNA. I'm very happy that you decided to go down this path instead of the old Hogan, Bischoff, Russo path of the past, where if he's over 40, shit, he's going over. Unless the other guy's 50, then he's going over, brother. Another thing that I was anxiously anticipating about this week's Impact, this final resolution show, were the results of what happened with Feast or Fired. This is a gimmick that I like from the past. Maybe a lot of you do not like, but me personally, I like. I do. And I have to confess that this was one of the most well-produced segments by TNA that I've seen in a very, very long time. It doesn't have the humor of, let's say, the Aces and Eights funeral, because that's great in its own way. That was great in a different way. But this was an incredibly well-produced segment. TNA and their producers deserve a lot of credit for this, because this came across very, very well. This created a lot of suspense. It had some twist in it. It carried off several different stories within that whole segment. It did something that's very hard to do with me in today's professional wrestling business. It actually got me eager and amped up and anticipating what's going to happen. You get Zema Ion getting the X Division title shot. I kind of figured that was going to happen. I had a feeling they were going to go with Gunner getting the World Heavyweight Championship shot, because you could do a tag team and you could do that, but this created so much more tension and animus between James Storm and Gunner, to the point now where you had Gunner last week pull James Storm off the top rope, or top turnbuckle, to get that briefcase. Now it's not just a tag team title shot, it's a World Heavyweight Championship shot. Now it's giving James Storm that much more reason to be pissed at Gunner. And now you've also created an element there where somebody's going to turn, somebody's not going to be happy, but who's ultimately going to be the bad guy in this? Is it going to be James Storm, or is it going to be Gunner? You're not really sure, because a Gunner did what anybody else would do in that situation. It's about you ultimately. You have that chance to get a World Heavyweight Championship. That might be your best friend in the world, but fuck you, buddy. You're coming down, brother. And he did that, just like you would in the real world. And now James Storm is going to react very pissed because he feels like he got screwed out of a chance at the gold by his best friend. Man, you could feel it. James Storm did such a good job with his facials and his body language of selling this, and Gunner's reaction was classic. But then you get to the last two, between Chavo and EC3. Now, maybe the TNA of the past would have given the tag title shot to Chavo and had EC3 fired just for Dixie to rehire him. And maybe you could have done that, but you would have taken the easy way out. The right person got the fired briefcase, and Chavo Guerrero. I don't mean to be mean, but Chavo needed to go. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Whatever. Good luck to you, Chavo. I'm sure we'll see you back at some point in time. But what really put this segment over the top to me was how Sting was incorporated here. This is an example of a guy still carrying a little bit of value, still being able to do something for you, but you pick and choose the spots and you do them at the right time, in the right place, in the right situation. It really put this segment over the top. When he presented the option to EC3 of, there's a 50-50 chance you could be fired. I'm going to sit there and offer you the opportunity to switch your fate with me as long as you fight me once. And EC3 looks at him. His reaction was priceless. Nah, I'm taking the case. And he got the tag title shot. Let's hope That leads to Rockstar Spud and EC3 being the next tag team champions. That'd be pretty damn cool, actually. But the tension and the story being told between Sting and EC3 was really damn good. And this goes back to Sting trying to get back at Dixie Carter, Dixie Carter, even though I might have had it right the first time with Ditsy. It was really good. It's actually got me wanting to see, maybe at Genesis, a freaking match between Sting and EC3. And I didn't think they were ever going to do that. But this segment and the way it finished off and the interaction between Sting and EC3 was so damn good. And that's the genius of Sting. When he's used right and he's used in a small way, he could take something like this and he can make it feel real. He could go above and beyond what so many people can do in today's wrestling business on the mic in terms of his promo work and his ability to connect to the audience, his ability to get his point across, his ability to make his opponent look like he's on the defensive and that he's scared. Sting's phenomenal at that shit, and he was phenomenal here, and it really just put this segment over the top. Feast or Fired was phenomenal. If they're going to do this once a year and it's going to be produced like this, especially the big reveal, and this is something that TNA needs to stick with here on going forward every year. And then we ultimately get to what Final Resolution was really truly all about. And what it was all about was who's going to become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Who potentially is going to face AJ Styles down the road whenever AJ Styles comes back from what you might think at this point is a worked leaving. Maybe he is under contract, maybe he isn't. When in doubt with professional wrestling, always assume a work. Same thing with the Montreal Screwjob and so many other things. Always assume a work, unless proven otherwise. But it was about this. It was about finding out who's going to be that top dog in the meantime. It was about finding out who's going to be the World Heavyweight Champion, who's going to be the guy to carry the company. And this is very similar to what you're talking about with Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode in the beginning of the night. You know, you have the chance here to do the same old shit in a different day and go down the same path TNA always loves to go down, which is push the WWE guys down your throats and over anybody else on the fucking roster. You know, a Hogan and Bischoff book show, you've got Jeff Hardy going over Magnus here, no question about it. No question about it. And it would have been all about Jeff Hardy. Or you would have had RVD thrown in there at the 11th hour, and RVD would have won the fucking world title. Like, anybody wants to see that at this point. Let's get realistic here. 1999 was a great year, but that was 14 years ago. That's back when RVD was doing stuff over a television title. So, but that's the TNA of old, under especially the Hogan and Bischoff regime. And even going farther back, always emphasizing the 40-plus guys, always emphasizing the former WWF, WWE guys. But here was a chance for TNA to rectify a lot of those mistakes and right a lot of previous wrongs with Magnus in particular. This is a guy that should have been a main event player for this company a long time ago. This is a guy that could be a big star for them if they have a chance to have a big star in their company, especially when you're talking about internationally with the British fans. That's what Magnus can do. This was set up well, too. You know, they've been building to this with this tournament for a few weeks. You were teasing, you know, Jeff Hardy's history. You were making it kind of obvious that he wasn't going to turn, but you were setting it up, and it made sense when you're talking about 10, 10, 10, and Magnus is saying, no, you know what? We remember this. You've done this before. Now, granted, back at 10, 10, 10, he turned against Dixie. It would be kind of odd for him to join Dixie now. But as the match was going on, you know, I see EC3 and I see Rockstar Spud, and I'm like, oh, God, this is going to be an overbooked pile of Dixieland trash. All that's going to matter to me is the result. But it wasn't too overbooked. It was a little overbooked, but I could deal with that because, again, to me, the most important thing was the result. As I saw Magnus climb that ladder, I said, oh, my God, they're going to do this. They're going to go with somebody other than Jeff Hardy as their TNA World Heavyweight Champion. They're going to go with one of their own guys. They're going to stay away from the WWE rejects. Has the WWE effect finally left TNA? Has this company finally come to their senses and realized that the most important thing they could do is create their own top stars? Because that's what the TNA fans want. They don't want to see these rejects that have had their prime 5, 10, 15 damn years ago. They want to see the new young lions that could still become stars that have their best years ahead of them. That's what I was thinking as Magnus climbed that ladder. And when he grabbed that World Heavyweight Championship, I marked out. I'm not even going to lie. Because I'm like, you know what? After all the stupid shit I've put up with this company for so many years, all the dumb dick stuff they've done over the years, and all the dumb dick stuff they would have done on this show, not only did they put Robert Roode over Kurt Angle, they just now made Magnus their new world heavyweight champion. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the man. He's going to be the face of the company. He's going to have maybe a short run here with Jeff Hardy. And then maybe he has a feud with AJ Styles. That, ladies and gentlemen, is good for business. That, ladies and gentlemen, can help create a new top star. And if I remember correctly, and you may be able to correct me down below, but I do believe before he passed, one thing that Smokey talked about more than once was the fact that Magnus deserved a push and had world champion written all over him. Just correct me if I'm wrong. You know, when in doubt, we're going to assume. So we'll chalk that up to Smokey's column as well. So you make sure you thank him. But damn it, this felt good. And damn it, you know, even though this was supposed to be a pay-per-view free on television and it just felt like a regular episode of Impact, I'll look past that this time because of what this show ultimately represented to me. What it represented to me was TNA finally learning the errors of all of their ways and maybe trying for once to turn the page and do something right. Make new stars. Stop living off of the past. Stop living off of the WWE has-beens. Stop living off of the WWE and WCW has-beens and never wases. Now Magnus is your top guy. He's your world champion. You've got a title shot with Gunner down the road. This is exciting. It's exciting, actually. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's exciting to actually think about TNA and their possibilities heading into 2014 in terms of their on-air product. I can't believe I'm saying that. Well done, TNA, this week. You got me to overlook all the other bullshit because you hit it out of the fucking park where you needed to, when you needed to, why you needed to, how you needed to.